Svechnikov, second chance. A backhand goes wide into the corner. Picked up by Jarvis. Shea shot out in front. Rebounds there. They score! Empty net goal deposited. Carolina does it again. That's the magic. Andrei Svechnikov. The Rangers get a bounce. Artemi Panarin in front of Pyotr Kochetkov. Carolina hasn't left the bench yet.
Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I am Adam Gold. Thank you very much for your patience out there. Welcome to our Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hannon and his crew do a great job. You should check them out. Reason I did air quotes with patience is a lot of you aren't really patient. We do this after every game. We do this after a post-game show, which takes a little longer in the playoffs. And when you have overtime, the scheduled time for this to begin sometimes gets pushed back. Does it seem like I'm scolding some of you? That's quite possible. But look, I get it. Everybody's mad. We're all mad. And it's fair to be mad. It's fair to take your frustrations out on others. Just understand just what the deal is. Tonight hurt. It hurt a lot. I'm not sure it hurt more than game 2. I actually think game 2 was more of the gut punch. I thought Carolina was better in game 2 than they were tonight in game 3. Unless we only played the first 20 minutes, in which case I thought Carolina was awesome. Just didn't get enough out of the first 20 minutes, in my opinion. And then the game flipped. The turning point in this game flipped on the shorthanded goal. And because I've been around this team for a long time, it did remind me of the second period shorthanded goal Boston scored 2 years ago in game 3 of that series by Charlie Coyle, who scored that goal. That actually was against Pyotr Kochetkov. That completely flipped that series around, which ultimately the Hurricanes won in game 7 here. Carolina was way better than Boston in the 2 games here. Not close. Way better. Went to Boston, had a great start, had a lead, and then the shorthanded goal just completely changed everything, not only in that game, but in the entire series. So the shorthanded goal tonight changed the game completely. Because to that point, the Hurricanes were way better than the Rangers. But from that point, they were not. And because it was 1-1, it didn't matter. Didn't matter how good Carolina was in the first 27 minutes of the game. Because it was a 1-1 game. And the rest of the way, I actually think the Rangers were the better team. Not by a lot, but I think they were. And part of that is the frustration from not scoring, especially the power play. We're going to talk about that. And part of that is because I don't know if any of you have noticed this. Maybe you have. Maybe some of you have. But there's a reason the Hurricanes don't have the home ice advantage in this series. Rangers are pretty damn good. They have a goaltender who's playing out of his mind. Not that they've lost this series. And first of all, the series is not over yet. In spite of what so many of you great fans have said, do I think Carolina is going to win this series? No, I do not. But I'm going to give them the respect because of the hard work they put in to think, let's just win a game. Let's go out and win a game. Let's see if they can win Saturday. Then if you can win Saturday, roll the dice on Monday. But it's natural. All that stuff is natural. But I lost my train of thought already. And it was a very professional opening to this podcast. So I thank you very much. No matter where you are tuning in, whether you are butthurt in Australia, I see you. I see you, my guy, in Adelaide, or you're in Alaska or Hawaii or Virginia Beach. I value the time that you give this. So up front, regardless of whether I may call you out for being insane in some of your opinions or not, I'm thankful that you enjoy this forum and that you allow me to bring it to you. So I am truly grateful for that. All right, let's get down to some things here. And again, at the beginning, as I said, I think all of the anger and hard feelings and hurt, they're all fair because I feel them too. But let's be mad for the right reasons, okay? Let's not just be mad and say things that are simply not true. So the Hurricanes have not gotten into this 3-0 hole because they've been bullied, because they're not big enough. Could be an issue on the power play. I'm not discounting that, but I don't think it is. I don't think size is the problem for Carolina. Now, I think, do I believe North Carolina? Do I believe the Hurricanes could do with getting bigger? Yes, I do. I do. I think they could in a general sense, but I don't believe that size has been a major factor in this series at all. So let's pretend like that we're actually paying attention. The Hurricanes aren't in this position because they got bullied. They're not in this position because they're poorly conditioned, which has been floated. They're not in this position because of a lack of talent. And they're not in this position because they didn't give good enough effort. They played their asses off. To this point, the Rangers have been better. Flat out. Look at the standings. 114 points to 113 points. I'm sorry, 111 for Carolina because of the throwaway game in the last game. So the reason that it is 3-0 is very simple. There are two areas that the Hurricanes have lost. Well, they didn't lose one of the areas tonight. Actually, they didn't lose either area tonight because I thought Pyotr Kochetkov was excellent tonight. The two areas that got them to this point that they have lost overall in this series, obviously special teams. And they did lose special teams tonight. My fault. -1. And goaltending. But they didn't lose goaltending tonight. As good as Igor Shesterkin was, I thought Pyotr Kochetkov was, his equal? No, but the difference was negligible. And I think the chances that Kochetkov had to deal with were significantly more dangerous. And he was great. Stopped 2 breakaways. Well, one he doesn't get a save on because Panarin shot it wide, but it was only because Kochetkov waited him out that Panarin had no net to shoot at. But Kochetkov stopped the breakaway on Trocheck. He stopped a couple of other point-blank opportunities, and he got the poke check on Hedl, which I still can't believe he made the save on, and the poke check on Kreider to prevent the Rangers from winning it in regulation. So I was super impressed with the way Kochetkov played. especially after not having played for 25 days. 25 days since his last game. And if I'm Rod, I'm going back to him. I'm letting Kochetkov play again because I think the kid was really good tonight, and there's nothing he could have done on the 3 goals. I mean, no chance on the 3 goals. Unless he ignored the potential of a shot, and maybe he should have. Maybe that was always going to be a pass, so maybe that's a poor read. So let's hang the second one on him. We can hang the Lafreniere goal on him because maybe you should read that it's going to be a pass across. But he didn't get there. It's a good shot. 2-1 Rangers. But there are comments that I have seen that I think are valid. And it is the reality of the situation. Carolina's got an outstanding team with tons of great players. Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, Gensel. Hopefully we have more than one game with Gensel. And there are other great players in the team. We'll just go with those, right? But the real difference is that the Rangers' elite players are simply in a different place. Artemi Panarin is probably a Hall of Famer. I don't know if Mika Zibanejad's a Hall of Famer, but he's pretty close. Same with Chris Kreider. Is he a Hall of Famer? Don't know, but he's pretty close. Adam Fox is an elite defenseman, not just an offensive defenseman. He's an elite defenseman. And I think the Rangers have dynamite depth on defense, whether it's Keandre Miller or Ryan Lindgren, who was awesome has been awesome in this series, or Jacob Trouba for all of his ass-hattery. He's an outstanding player. So I thought the Rangers are good. And they have an elite world-class goaltender who has been, spent the first half of the year being just kind of and spent the second half of the year and the postseason being what's the opposite of that? Freaking awesome. And I think there is an element of Carolina knows he's awesome, so they are trying to make the perfect play to create the easy goal, and that doesn't exist. But it's hard to convince any athlete that the better play is just to get pucks at him and then go get them. 2 things about that. Because again, I see, and I don't disagree, I think the Hurricanes shot total in this game, super misleading. I didn't think there was a ton of danger by the Hurricanes, except in a couple of bursts. First period, I thought there was. They only got the 1 goal. Second period, early, and we're going to go through the power plays in a minute. Second period early, but for the most part, last half of the second period, no. And they had 20 shots on goal in the second period, and to be honest, I don't remember more than 3. I looked up at the shot total and went, get out of here. So I thought there was a lot of empty calories in the second period. And I think even before Lafreniere scored to make it 2-1, I thought the Rangers carried the play. And for me, they did look like a deflated team to an extent in the third period. And then they got the goal. And the building came alive again. It's funny. Every once in a while, sometimes just because I have to kill 40 seconds in the pregame show, which we do before every game. It's an hour long in the playoffs. So there's more time to kill. So I did keys to the game. And here was my main key to the game. I actually had 2. My main key to the game was the don't expect to feed off the crowd. I didn't want the Hurricanes to go into the game thinking that the crowd would provide them energy, because that's not the way it works. The team provides the crowd with the reason to provide them energy. I thought that was key, which means that Carolina had to come out with some aggression, maybe get the first goal, which is what they did, and play to energize the crowd. And that was the first period in a nutshell. You could not have asked for a better played first period. What we could have asked for or hoped for was another goal or two out of it. But that's not what happened. It was 1-0 after one. But exactly the way I wanted to see them play is how they played. The other key to the game for me was because you can't play to not take penalties. You can't. If you play your game, penalties are going to happen, especially with the crap they were throwing out there in the beginning of this game. Really, the first two periods, there were just some strange-looking penalties. Regardless, and again, contrary to popular opinion, I didn't blame game two on the referees. I just said, hey, they completely botched a bunch of calls. And I don't blame anything. The Hurricanes are their own worst enemy. They're losing this series 3-0 right now for a reason, and it's not the officials. But it's okay to point out when calls are like, what are you doing there? And I'm not going to get deep into it. I thought they botched the Svechnikov embellishment call. They looked the other way when Jacob Trouba embellished later, but whatever. And they botched the scrum in which Jimmy Vesey punched Martin Necas in the face with a gloved hand. There's no way that should have been anything less than, the Hurricanes getting a power play out of it, which may or may not have been a good thing. But so those were my two keys to the game. And I thought Carolina came out and played great early. And Andrei Svechnikov came out and played great. He played great all game. He played great early. I know Jake Gensel gets the goal, but Andrei Svechnikov makes the whole damn play. I mean, hits on Gustafsson and Trouba, big, heavy, into the wall behind the net. Two big hits. And then Gustafsson, when the puck gets cycled back into the corner, Gustafsson knows that Svechnikov is there. He knows he's going to get rocked. And so he's shook by it. And Svech doesn't even have to hit him because now Gustafsson has ignored the puck. So Andre just goes, you know what? I'm done with you. He goes and gets the puck, gets it up to Orlov. Orlov's shot is deflected by Gensel. That's the first goal. That's elite play. But Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Fox. Those four players, to me. And let's remove Fox from the equation, because I actually have not been that impressed with Adam Fox in this series. I think he's probably been the Rangers' fourth best defenseman. I think Trouba's been better. I think, although he's been in the box a lot, I think Miller, I love Keandre Miller. And I think Ryan Lindgren's been just absolutely awesome. I'm not knocking Adam Fox. He's a great player. I just don't think he's been super in this series. Although on the Panarin goal in game one, dynamite play. But the Rangers' high end is higher than the Hurricanes' highest end players. Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis. That doesn't mean that those guys are not great players. I just think that the Rangers' higher-end players are better. That's all. They're all amazing players. So if we're talking about the six best players in the series, or overall, 1, 2, 3 for the Rangers, 4, 5, 6 for the Canes, just in terms of the forward group. But again, to me, that's a legitimate comment. That's a legitimate reason why it's 3-0 Rangers, because all of those Rangers players, we haven't even gotten to Vincent Trocheck. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider have all impacted the game. In fact, Panarin had the game winner, assisted on the Lafreniere goal. Zibanejad set up Kreider for the shorthanded goal. All right, now let's get to the power play. We don't have to go any further than 0 for 15. By the way, the penalty kill was 4 for 4 tonight. Penalty kill looked pretty good. Rangers' first one, pretty dangerous. Kochetkov made the saves he had to make. Carolina eventually cleared the zone. That was a little bit of a problem early, but the penalty kill was good tonight. Power play. The first one didn't score, but I didn't hate it. I know they didn't score, so it sucked. No, you can be, I actually thought it was okay. Again, not great, but it wasn't terrible. Second one I didn't like. The third one, to me, the first minute was awesome. Seriously. Don't roll your eyes. In the first half of that power play, the fatal power play, the Hurricanes had 6 shot attempts, and I think 3 of them were high danger. They had 3 of those shots on goal. 1 shot was blocked, 2 missed the net. But they were all over it. There were rebounds and retrievals, and it was all of a sudden, it was the power play. And I was sitting next to my producer for the radio show during the day, Victoria, and I said, I feel a power play goal coming. And the first minute, you could feel a power play goal coming. And then Svechnikov and Aho collided with Chris Kreider in the middle like a sandwich. And the play gets broken up. It goes the other way. Somehow, Kreider separated. I thought Aho was shaken up on this. Kreider separates, and he is a great skater, super fast, and he beats Brent Burns down the ice. That's an unacceptable occurrence. Burns cannot get beat down the ice because he had, it wasn't like Burns was facing one way and Kreider was facing the other. At this point, Burns is already going back. But Burns got beat to the front of the net. Zibanejad to Kreider, 1-1, shorthanded goal. And at that point, the Hurricanes were in deep, deep trouble. The rest of that power play, you think, all right, the first part of this was good. Let's just get back to doing that. But the second part of that power play, Necas tries to stick handle through traffic, turns it over. I thought otherwise Marty was fairly good. Again, everybody was good, I thought, in the first 27 minutes of the game. Everybody. And I think a lot of players kind of went away after that. Necas tries to stick handle through traffic. Can't do it. All of a sudden, odd man rush. Tony DeAngelo saves the play. Tony DeAngelo makes great defensive play, denies a pass across, so Carolina escapes a second shorthanded chance. Teuvo Teravainen in the offensive zone. There's a pass into him. I don't know why it smacked off his stick. He may, I'd have to go back and search through the game to find it. But did somebody like defend him so well? I thought the puck just caromed off his stick like a poor touch in soccer. It was a heavy touch, and all of a sudden it's Vincent. He set up Trocheck on a breakaway. Kochetkov denied the play. That was the second breakaway that Kochetkov either made a save on, that one, or just was patient enough to wait the play out, and Panarin ran out of real estate. But after the shorthanded goal, 2 grade A. Well, the first one wasn't a grade A scoring chance because there was no shot. But odd man chance, the fact that Tony DeAngelo could deny it. So the power play was at that point became a complete mess. The next 2 power plays they had, one more in the second period and then one with about 9 minutes to go in the third period. To me, those were the worst power plays, I think, of the series so far, other than the last minute of the third one. But I thought the power play looked promising until the goal. and the goal was a killer, an absolute, life sucker. It hurt. It hurt a lot. It hurt the building, and it was tough. It was tough for the fans to get back into it after that. And I don't blame any fans for being that way. It just was. And Carolina was, well, I'm not saying they were fortunate. Then they fall behind on the Lafreniere goal. And then I just think people were just looking for, they were ready to just declare it over. And something that Andrei Svechnikov said in the locker room after the game is that this team doesn't quit. And I'm going to take him on his word for that because I agree with him. I don't think this team quits. So they'll come back on Saturday and they'll give it their best. And we'll see if maybe they can figure out a way to get a power play goal or simply put 4 goals past Shesterkin at even strength. But they're going to have to do something. You're going to have to score. The Rangers will get their opportunities. The Rangers will score goals. They scored, 4 goals, 3 goals. Hurricanes have 3 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals. 3 one-goal games. These have all been one-goal games. And for those, honestly, if your feeling about the Hurricanes is that they're not good in the playoffs, there's no other team that has won a playoff series, at least one playoff series, every year for the last 6 years. There's no other team that's done that, just the Hurricanes. So I don't know what you're talking about. But once again, they have so far run into a team that appears to be better than them. I think there are 5 teams going into the playoffs. I thought there were 5 teams that could win a Stanley Cup. And I thought Carolina was one of them. But I didn't think they were better than Florida. I thought they were better than the Rangers. They haven't been. And I don't think they're better than Colorado. And I don't think they're better than Dallas. I thought they were in the mix. Regardless. This is history, and I have 2 more things to get to. There have been 4 teams that have rallied from a 3-0 series deficit to win a series. It has been done. Obviously, there have been a lot of 3-0 deficits, and only 4 teams have come back. Because the math says that the Rangers now have a 98% chance of winning this series. Seems right to me. In 1942, the Toronto Maple Leafs rallied to beat the Detroit Red Wings for the Stanley Cup title after trailing 3-0. In 1975, the New York Islanders defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins in the second round of the playoffs after trailing 3-0. I think it was like the second or third year of the Islanders, too. In 2010, the Flyers came back from 3-0 down to defeat Boston in this round, in the second round. And by the way, the Bruins had a 3-0 lead in the I think it was a game. It might have had a 3-0 lead in Game 7, and blew that too. And then in 2014, the Los Angeles Kings trailed the San Jose Sharks in the second round, 3-0, and rallied to come back to win it. You know who was on that LA Kings team? Justin Williams was on that LA Kings team. Again, just history. It doesn't really mean anything. But for what it's worth, it's possible. Highly unlikely, but possible. It wouldn't hurt to feel like, you know what? If Carolina can win 1, maybe they can win 2. See how long they could stretch it out. And because why not? Real quick about the officiating. And really and I alluded to it before. It was kind of like 2 different games, although maybe there was nothing to call in the third period. They did call 2 penalties, one each way. But they just called some really weird things. Like, I thought we were in a playoff series. I loved the fact that they allowed the first scrum in front of Pyotr Kochetkov. I loved that because that's the playoffs to me. Face washing, extra stuff after whistles, rubbing somebody's face in the ice, whatever. That's good to me. That's fun. Playoff hockey. Then we had the next scrum. And I guess you can't let it all go. You can't let it go when guys are throwing punches at each other. But I just don't know how you come out of that and the Hurricanes don't have a power play when Jimmy Vesey threw a punch at Martin Necas. Sucker punch right in the face and the neck. I just don't understand how that's not a power play for Carolina. But regardless, it's not why Carolina lost today at all. It's not even close. It's not even on the list of reasons. And honestly, even though I thought it was a terrible call on Brady Shea, it's not one of the reasons why Carolina lost game 2. It really comes down to there are 3 areas. I said it in the podcast on Tuesday. There are 3 areas in which the Rangers have been better than Carolina. 2 of them are glaring. The other is also meaningful, but not quite as bad as the other 2. Overall, 3-0 in this series because the Rangers are +5 on special teams. 4 power play goals and a shorty, and the Hurricanes have nothing. This is how even the series is. The Rangers are +5 on special teams and only +3 overall. Goaltending, Shesterkin has been spectacular. Freddie Anderson was good. I thought Kochetkov was excellent tonight, but spectacular is significantly better than good and even excellent, too. And the other, and it kind of speaks to why the power play has been a little off. Haha, I was putting it mildly. Is that I think the Rangers have been better in front of Shesterkin than the Hurricanes have. And here is where, like when everybody's talking about getting bigger, we need more size, la, la, la. I think the place where Carolina needs to be better is physically in front of their own net. That's what I think. So Jacob Slavin is a great player, would not trade him for a soul. But he's not a physical player. Although I think Jacob threw his body around a little bit tonight. But in front of the net's not going to do that. Brent Burns, for all of his 6'5", 230, not a physical player. You know who Carolina's most physical defenseman is? Well, second. Dmitry Orlov's the most physical defenseman. Tony DeAngelo, who I thought was very, very good tonight. So that's where Carolina, to me, needs to get tougher. I'm not so concerned about the forward group, small. They need some size up there. But I think in front of their own net is really where they need to get tougher. Because if you think about it, Game 2 kind of turns on that. The Kreider power play goal in the third period. That's you're out of position, Slavin, but your stick is not going to prevent Chris Kreider, who is a horse, from shoveling that puck in the net. That was also on Freddie for not covering it. All right. Anyway, everybody can feel free to be mad, but let's be mad for the right reasons. And honestly, if you're of the opinion that this team hasn't given max effort, come on. Really? I don't even know who you are, but I will say you're better than that. This team gives max effort all the time. It's the one thing you never have to worry about. Doesn't always look great, but they always bust their ass. So we'll try to do it again on Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know what time that is in Adelaide, Mikhailov. I don't. I don't know what time it is. Well, I know what time it is in Virginia Beach, the same time as it is here. And the Hurricanes will try to take this series back to New York for a Game 5. You can decide, you can assign whatever chance you want to give them to do that. But we'll be here on Saturday, and we'll watch it all unfold. And the big picture stuff, the window hasn't closed on this team either. And I'm not going to worry about what the roster may look like until we have to talk about it. And we don't have to talk about it yet. Maybe we'll have to talk about it after the game on Saturday. Who knows? But the encouraging signs for me tonight were the way Andrei Svechnikov played in the first period, really played all game. The way Pyotr Kochetkov played in this game, because these we're talking about the standout things here. Those are two things I'm going to take away from tonight and going, yeah, that's exactly how it's going to be, how it needs to be. I hope Kochetkov gets the start on Saturday. I think he deserves it. We'll see what happens. But somehow they got to get a win. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. Check them out online, aluminumcompany.com. I am Adam Gold. Thank you very much. Subscribe, rate, like, love, do whatever you like. If you got comments, that's cool. You can always hit me up on Twitter at agoldfan. At least those of you I haven't blocked. Oh, no, it was a block party on Ranger Nation tonight. Just because, look, if you're offensive or you're a 2-year-old, I am not dealing with you. I just don't want to see it in my timeline. But hit me up on Twitter. I'm happy to engage. You know that. At agoldfan. Until Saturday night, hopefully after a win, so we have another game on Monday, because this is fun to do, even after a loss. I am Adam Gold. Take care. Unfortunately, the Hurricanes trail 3-0. Hopefully, they can win a game on Saturday. Until then, bye.